It's the Real News Network. I'm Sharmini Perez coming to you from Baltimore. The increasingly repressive administration of Recep Erdogan in Turkey is affecting its relations with its most important trading partner in Europe, Germany. Relations have been deteriorating, particularly after Turkey arrested 10 activists, including Germans, a few weeks ago as a part of a wider security crackdown since last year's failed military coup. Further, German politicians have been denied access to visit German troops stationed on the Syrian-Turkish border. And this week, Germany published a travel warning to Turkey for its citizens and suspended all arms shipments to Turkey. A year after the failed coup attempt in Turkey on July 15, 2016, repressive policies in Turkey have included mass layoffs of public employees, especially from schools and universities, over a dozen media outlets, mass arrests, and a referendum which guaranteed President Erdogan excessive executive powers. Most recently, Turks have been arrested for wearing shirts similar to one which was worn by a suspect in the coup attempt trial taking place. Stopping arms shipments to Turkey is a significant statement by Germany, as it is one of the world's largest arms exporters. President Erdogan, however, appears more concerned with losing investments by German companies and lashed out against German policies. Let's listen.
Alman Ekonomi Bakanı'nın hiçbir mesnede dayanmayan
I strongly condemn the German economy minister's baseless comments aimed at startling and disturbing companies investing in our country with indirect messages. The German government that harbors Turkish terrorists in their country must first give an account for this. Why do the terrorists fleeing Turkey hide in Germany? How will they explain the financial support given to those people there? Germany must pull itself together. They should know they can never scare us with these threats. They should know that if their judiciary is independent, ours is more independent than theirs.
On to talk about this with me today is Shir Hever. Shir is our Real News correspondent in Heidelberg, Germany. I thank you so much for joining us, Shir.
Thanks for having me, Sharmini.
So, Shir, Germany and Turkey are closely tied together economically. Those relations actually preceded the establishment of the European Union. But the European Union has changed the nature of these relations. What is the basis of the strong ties between the two countries, particularly economic?
Well, the relations go way back, in fact, before the First World War. But if we want to talk about the modern relations, because both of these countries have undergone significant political changes in the middle of the 20th century, then actually when Germany was partitioned between West Germany and East Germany, part of the policy of West Germany in order to rebuild its economy after the war, after the Second World War, and to outpace East Germany, was to import large numbers of guest workers from Turkey. Many of these people stayed in Germany, and many of them continued to hold on to their Turkish passports. So in fact, this has become the largest minority group within Germany, people of Turkish descent. And they have contributed tremendously to the economic success of Germany. And the remittances to Turkey have also influenced the Turkish economy quite a lot. The European Union, however, when that started, that changed the relations quite a lot, because now Germany could not have direct relations with Turkey without involving the entire European Union. Also, the European Union was established after Germany was reunified, and the reunification of East and West Germany have also changed the German economy quite a lot. And I think it's interesting now to hear the German Minister of Finance, Wolfgang Schäuble, accusing Turkey of reminding him of East Germany, because anyone who knows this finance minister knows that for him, East Germany is the worst thing that you can have. He's a rampant capitalist, and as Minister of Finance, he did everything he could in order to destroy remnants of the socialist regime in East Germany.
And also Schäuble is the person who's done most of the negotiations on behalf of Germany in relation to Greece, which he's also holding up as an example of what's possible if Turkey doesn't behave.
Yeah, and actually it was mentioned several times when Schäuble was cracking down on Greece with quite a lot of cruelty, that he's doing the same thing that he did to East Germany, to Greece. So now making this statement towards Turkey is a direct threat to destroy the Turkish economy. Not that I think that Germany has that ability to destroy the German economy, but Turkey does have this agreement with the European Union to receive money from the European Union in exchange for holding refugees from Syria mostly within Turkey and rehabilitating them there and providing them with services within Turkey. And the right-wing movements in Europe and also in Germany, especially the extreme right, are very concerned that if Turkey will stop abiding by this agreement, then Europe will be flooded by refugees.
Right. And Shir, what can you tell us about the role of the German arms industry? As I mentioned in the intro, it is one of the largest in the world. And are German corporations just going to accept losing the Turkish market in this way? And then what enables Germany to actually be able to do this, sanction Turkey in this way?
The German arms industry is indeed very large, but the rules regarding how it is regulated were established actually by the Allied occupying powers after the World War II. The Allied occupying powers, the capitalist ones, so that would be the United States, Britain, and France, decided that Germany should have a strong arms, West Germany should have a strong arms industry in order to rebuild its military on the border of the Soviet Union, but that all of these companies have to be privately owned with very strong government regulation. And this kind of system actually prevented the establishment of what we see in many other countries, especially the United States, but also Israel, the establishment of a military-industrial complex, where the interests of the military corporations can dictate government policy. In Germany, officially, the government has a lot of influence and a lot of say about how the arms industry is allowed to handle itself. And you asked about how is it possible for the German government to deny shipments. Actually, German law already says that that German companies are not allowed to sell weapons to conflict areas. But the biggest customers of the German arms industry are actually Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the United States, Britain, and Israel. So these are all countries that are using German weapons in conflict areas. The law is being constantly violated. In the case of Turkey, they're just implementing a law that already exists.
And so if these are the main buyers of German arms, will Germany also suspend arms sales with these countries, given they're also in conflict zones?
Here again, we have the interests of the arms industry in mind. And of course, the arms industry doesn't want to lose those businesses, and the German government doesn't want to see exports reduced. But it's a very controversial issue within the German political sphere. One very large customer of German arms is Israel. And actually, Germany, and specifically the German arms company ThyssenKrupp, is suspending a massive arms deal with Israel worth almost 2 billion euros because of a corruption case, because there are severe indications that this arm deal involved bribes to senior Israeli officials, possibly even the prime minister. And ThyssenKrupp said that if that will be proven, or if that the suspicions will be strong enough, they will suspend the deal. And I think that the case of Israel is somewhat a special case because the German arm companies, including ThyssenKrupp, had no problem selling weapons, even under heavy suspicions of corruption, to countries like Greece. But when it comes to Israel, they don't want to be accused of jeopardizing the very special relationship between Germany and Israel, and so they've decided to suspend the deal until further notice.
Shir, the relations between Turkey and Germany are particularly interesting because they're both members of NATO. But Turkey has been taking a sidestep these days. Large investments of its own in the arms industry has been made. And unusually for a NATO member, Turkey has also decided to buy Russian weapons as well. What does all this tell us about Turkey's intentions towards NATO?
So when Donald Trump was a presidential candidate and he said that NATO is unfair because the member states need to pay more to the United States in exchange of protection, I think he got it completely wrong, completely upside down, actually. NATO is not a scheme where states pay the United States to be protected, but actually, in order to become members of NATO, these countries have to buy American weapons. And so they're increasing the profits of the US military industry. And when it comes to the issue of protection, then the United States does not always come to the rescue of NATO members when they're facing security threats. For that reason, it's both Germany and Turkey are somewhat reluctant members of NATO. They have very strong debates internally whether they should remain in NATO or not, for different reasons. In the case of Turkey, they remember very strongly that in 2010, when a non-NATO member attacked a Turkish civilian ship and killed 9 Turkish citizens. That was Israel attacking the Mavi Marmara. The NATO did not come to the aid of Turkey, and Turkey was left to deal with this on its own. Eventually, Turkey did succeed to get the Israeli government to issue an apology and pay compensations, but it was with no help from NATO. So what Turkey is now doing is developing directions towards its arms industry with non-NATO members. And that is very significant because it also has a lot to do with the way that, with the kind of weapons that are being produced and traded. If they buy weapons from Germany, then those weapons are compatible with other NATO technology, for example, United States weaponry. But when Turkey starts to buy Russian weapons, which are not compatible, then and start to produce its own weaponry and sell it, then that means that they're distancing themselves somewhat from NATO.
Interesting. And also President Erdogan has accused Germany of fanning the flames to win votes in the upcoming election in Germany this September. Is this kind of move against Turkey popular? And I'm keeping in mind the fact that you mentioned that there's a large Turkish population in Germany. Apparently there's almost 3 million Turkish ethnic minorities there. How does all this play out in the upcoming elections, and is Erdogan correct?
Indeed, there are Turkish people of Turkish descent in Germany, and some of them actually continue to wave the Turkish flag or support Erdogan even while living in Turkey. So it's not that they're all considering themselves to be refugees from Turkey or opposition to the government. Some of them are very Turkish nationalists, but there are still 3 million out of a population of 80 million, and many people in Germany consider Turkey to be a very authoritarian state and consider it somehow Germans' responsibility to put Turkey in its place. And that's part of the German nationalism that, and so we see that especially in the right-wing parties, which say, well, we need to teach Turkey a lesson, or we need to make sure that Erdogan will step down. Not by military invasion, but by other means, by soft power. And I think because the current German government is headed actually by a right-wing party, the Christian Democratic Union is a right-wing party, they are certainly willing to use this crackdown on Turkey in order to gain more votes in the upcoming election. What is interesting, however, is also in the left part. We see quite a lot of people supporting the Kurdish resistance movement or the Kurdish independence movement, which is, of course, very critical of Erdogan's regime and trying to gain more freedom within Turkey. And so when the left is also in close connection to those groups, then, or parts of the left at least, then it creates a very interesting moment of consensus between the right and the left within Germany.
All right, Shir, I thank you so much for joining us today, and a very, very interesting situation brewing between Turkey and Germany, and I hope you can report back on its developments. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us here on the Real News Network.